it's Sakuems here. So this video is going to be the new YouTube Artist Collective collaboration work. And so basically, if you don't know what it is, the YouTube Artist Collective is a group of artists from YouTube, of course, and what we do is basically we kind of gathered, I guess, our thoughts and ideas and all, and we ask our audience to vote for a theme that each artist then will work on. So it's like a giant collab, except that it's just between a lot of artists instead of just two. We have now 11 members, and it's the third time that I'm doing this, and every time I'm doing it, I'm really just excited / terrified because it's not like a contest really or a competition, but I know that people voted for the theme, so I'm like, they expect something to be, like nice and good, and so I'm just having a bit more pressure because I feel like it's just I have to do great, and I kind of like feel that I went a little bit overboard this time because I got really not scared exactly, but I just didn't know how to work with the theme. And so before I jump into like talking about the drawing, I just wanted to say that as I said, we are 11 members into this huge collaboration or a collective type of project. And so we do have a Facebook page, so I will link it below. But if you want to check also the other artists, I also included the links to their channels because of course every one of them has actually made a video about this new collab. And so basically the artists involved this collab are Bailey J, That Artsy Girl, Lemia Crescent, Zara Banez, Art by Kearney Ailey, Sluggy Art, Jellyby, Art à la Carte, Joy San, and Ilo Alice. So the theme for this video, this collab, was Beautiful Nightmare. The opposition of nightmare being kind of like, I guess, negative and dark and everything, and the beauty of it kind of is a nice contradiction type of and so I found it quite fascinating. I figured it would be nice to maybe do like some sort of scene that was illustrating a bad dream. And so at first I thought about like, oh, what are like some bad dreams or people are fears and stuff like that. So I played around in my head for like a couple weeks about the idea of being buried alive, but I didn't really found a way to properly sketch it. I kept thinking about the concept and not actually drawing it. After thinking forever about everything, I got another idea, which was to work more about depression and having someone over your shoulders, but I wanted to have an incarnation of those like that dark mind, or I guess like an evil double self, kind of like as a ghost, like always on you, and you feel this weight on your shoulders, but sometimes it's hard to see this. I wanted to illustrate the idea of having those dark emotions and those dark thoughts, and has a, I guess, humanly form behind the character. But I was working on that, and it didn't look right because it looked like the character was being kidnapped or like some sort of ghost type of, I don't know, it just didn't really worked as I wanted to work. So I kind of really last noticed like two days ago I changed everything again, and I went to a different concept, which was to basically work with the most basic type of nightmare to me, or I guess like what most people will fear. I don't know exactly, but to me it's literally death. I don't like thinking about the void and the emptiness and everything that comes with like basically dying. And so I kind of combined those thoughts with my other concept, which was to have someone over your shoulder. And so that's why I came up with this like woman that is very protective and kind of lost, and like her expression, I wanted her to feel a little bit confused and just not I guess it's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, that was my idea, and I still wanted her to have someone or something that was kind of like having its toll on her, and kind of like that's the power and the weight on her shoulders coming from something. And so basically that thing is the Ripper, and that's why I call this the piece, the title of the piece is the Ripper, is yeah, I guess that just very literally to me, I instead of just keeping thinking about the concept that much, I just went for it. Literally last notice, I was like, you know what, like just stop thinking and start drawing something and just go for it. And so I sketched everything, and I've used reference for the skull because it's my first time ever drawing a skull. And I also used a reference, the tool, like the weapon it has, I don't know how it's called, sorry. But yeah, I used the reference for that. And I also used a reference for the pose of the girl, like holding herself, I guess. To be honest, I don't have a lot more to say. That's kind of confusing for me because I thought about it for so long. But that was really fast. Like I think I thought about it, I sketched it, I did a real size sketch. I usually work on computer and then I print everything and I trace my work. I didn't do that. I just went on paper. I did a first sketch, and then I was like, you know what, like this already looks okay. So I didn't really work too much on the sketch, and I went straight on my artboard. And so I've used the Arch by Canson Arch artboard, which is A3, so that's a pretty standard size for me for this type of artwork, very detailed. And I had to do this as that size because of the size of the face of the girl, which is literally still too small for me. I like when I can really do details, and so I kind of struggle for that. That I knew that I couldn't do anything smaller, so that's why I did that. I realized also that I still went for a very iconic front view type of artwork. I don't know how and why I'm doing that, but I guess it's just my comfort. It's my comfort zone. I still challenge myself in terms of colors, and because it's very desaturated compared to what I usually do, although there's still a bit of pink and like purple and all, but you know, it's definitely just a little bit more muted. And I also worked mostly with watercolors because I wanted to have a very blurry look to everything, but kind of run out of time, to be honest, so the piece isn't fully finished as I'm recording this. But I still found a way to make it, like, I guess, to have the color theme that I wanted. I wanted something quite dark, of course. I was going for more of a desaturated look, but I don't know, I felt like it made sense for me, and I guess it was less obvious to have a dark theme with dark colors. It was a little bit too, I guess, generic, and I kind of like the opposition of having like colors even though it's death, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you wouldn't expect, I guess, a Reaper to be around roses. I kind of like that, what is it called? Opposition, I guess? Yeah, I guess. It's kind of like, the irony of this is kind of it's interesting, and it kind of reminds me of like some sort of tattoo design and everything. I guess it's not like super original, but it's still a first for me. That's the first time I'm doing this type of artwork, and I really like it, to be honest. I just really enjoyed working on this. I wish I just decided to work on it sooner. I basically don't have any issue really when it comes to working, or I guess executing the piece, like shading and coloring. I mean, I know my recipe, I know my tools, and like I'm comfortable doing that. Although I did struggle for the face. I almost messed up the face. I was so scared. Oh my god, I was recording stuff and I was working on the nose and it looked so bad instantaneously that I stopped recording. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna mess up this. I almost did everything on the piece. I was working on the face as my last thing, and it was so bad. So that was really that was really scary. But besides that, like, I guess I was able to do what I was going for. I struggled mostly to just start working, you know what I mean? I think it's something that I really need to improve on. I mean, like, just go for it, not be scared all the time, or just always thinking, oh, I need to find the perfect concept, It's just sometimes it's a little bit annoying to be such a perfectionist, because I wish I was just like, you know what, just let me just do this. Or I wish I was just happy with any concept that I'm like finding, but I'm always thinking, oh, I don't know, it's boring, or oh, but it doesn't look right, or I'm always just like being kind of not mean to myself, but I don't know how and why I do that. But I just want to be proud of myself, like proud of my work, and be like, you know what? If I don't feel really the idea itself, I will not be happy, and so I will not be able to work on it properly. And so if I don't like my concept, that means it's not the right one, and I need to find a new one that I'm willing to work on. So it's a bit of a struggle, but I'm happy that I still found it, like in the end, but I'm just really, really late again. What I learned, I guess, from this piece is that I really, really I should just draw sometimes, just do it. And so yeah. And in terms of content, colors and like tools, it's my go-to recipe. I always use the same thing. I've used watercolors, mainly indigo blue, Payne's gray, and like also some bluish gray and turquoise, and yeah, and a lot of like grayish tone. Like any color that I use, I try to put a bit of gray into it. And so if you're wondering how you do that with watercolors, you don't actually need to add gray. You only need to add a complementary color. So anytime I wanted to have like a grayish red, all you have to do is put the complementary color. So any red I had to add a bit of green into it, and it was kind of grayish, because that's just how it works. And same for like all the rest of my colors, basically. All my purples and everything, they just had a bit of yellow into it, so it kind of mutes it down. And yeah, that's how I made my palette, basically. I didn't talk too much about, I guess, the execution of it. It's all about layering. I always think that I'm done with watercolors, and then I'm like, oh, but this needs more. It's always darker than what I thought. When I work with copic markers, for example, it's the opposite. I always work from dark to light, but with watercolors, I always work from light to dark. And so that's when I realized that it's always needs to be darker. I don't know why, but every time I think, oh, this is dark enough, I just come on top again and again and again. So yeah. And I think that's pretty much it. This video is quite long already, but I kind of wanted to just do a talking video where I kind of explain how I did everything and why and all that jazz, and I really, really like it. And so if you're coming from any other YouTuber, thank you, and I hope that you enjoy my work and that you'll stay and watch some of my other videos. I think that's pretty much it. So if you want to grab the original, it's on my Etsy shop, and I will put a link somewhere in the video. And I also have a print. And speaking of extra content, if you'd like to see the long version of this video, basically the time-lapse process, it's like about 45 minutes or so, with extra voiceover when I kind of talk more about how I do things. It's available on my Patreon page, and I will also put a link somewhere. And as a Patreon, if you want to pledge, you can also get the HD scan and an exclusive postcard of this artwork. And this is not available on my Etsy, it's only on Patreon. So I think that's pretty much it for the video. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye!